There isn't any romance in Killing and Stalking. It's a psychological horror book, a lake wide yet a puddle deep. There aren't any complex moving philosophies. The book lays bare its narrative themes of torture, pain, anguish, grief, trauma, and misanthropy. Viewed through the narrative fetishization of those believing its main antagonist is incapable of affection without pain, ultimately pushing him, Sangwoo, the antagonist, into suffocating his victims with an unlimited amount of pain and or pleasure as a means of affection and empathy through emotional and physical abuse, because that's how his character communicates love, is it not? This book doesn't romanticize his character dynamics, so what do people find appealing about this book? Whereas others can view it for what it is, and see the main antagonist for an appalling waste of human garbage that he is. The answer is the possibility of change. Much like Damon Salvatore, who has committed his fair shares of crimes against humanity in The Vampire Diaries, despite being a mass-murdering walking pile of vomit who's entertaining to watch, much like Sangwoo, with a strong personality and utterly detached from life, he's literally deaf on two legs. He doesn't care about anything and or anyone.
That's my humanity. And what's this?
Miss Gibbons, now tell me the truth. Are you married?
No.
Parents, children, anyone else who lives on this property?
No, it's
No?
just me.
Good.
His character is charisma, that's it. And the Vampire Diaries fan base adores his character when he's psychotically evil, leading to a lot of inconsistencies with his character, meaning every time he'd step into the warmth of the life and bathe in the sun of heroism, he'd do something spontaneously evil just for the sake of our entertainment, like killing innocent people indiscriminately for no reason at all, abusing women, torturing people, and a laundry list of horrific atrocities continues until he's all vulnerable and insecure, showing that heart behind the asshole, and because of that, forget all about the horrible things he's done. There's nothing to defend about Damon's character. He should be in hell next to Stalin and Mao, but people love him in the same vein as people love Sangwoo. Calling Sangwoo misunderstood is the nicest word someone could use to describe his character. Anything less baffles my mind, because Sangwoo's character is Damon's character. Sangwoo's entire backstory is that because the plot was too strong and he couldn't be aborted by his mother with mental health issues, he came into existence and brought ruin into hundreds of lives until one fateful day, the mother's psychotic belief in her own delusions were so strong, she tried to smother him to death. Because his mother was angry of the idea of Sangwoo loving his father more than her, which led to the father growing more distant with the mother, and his bond being more fruitful with his son, to the point when the father started beating the hell out of his wife for less than no reason at all. But if you need a reason, he got a sneak peek at the transcript of the story and said, alright. Sangwoo roleplayed the protective son against the deadbeat piece of shit father that beat her for shits and giggles when the mother wasn't busy with her extracurricular activities of her cuckolding the father with other men and making the son watch her have bang with strangers. And the icing on the cake is, because mom wanted revenge on dad for neglecting and abusing her, mom began poisoning dad's meals with rat poison until dad found out and wanted to put mom into her early grave. But before that could happen, Sangwoo bonked dad on the head, and that's the end of his story. You'd imagine this is where things get better, right? Wrong. After dad died, because mom saw Sangwoo, who appeared like his father because of genetics, she poisoned him too, bonked him on the head, burned him with water, then tied him up in the basement for days, where she repeatedly abused him, and even attempted to four-letter R-word him. But that was the exact moment he bonked her back, picked up a knife, and killed her. Wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before he killed her, he allowed her to beg for her life, before subjecting her to the most painful death possible, before impaling her neck on the knife against the wall like Michael Myers. Thus the serial killer Sangwoo was born, who in an attempt to erase the memory of his traumatic past, replicates them with random women, and of course, our protagonist, Bum. They even do the rat poison thing. However, because both of these characters are severely mentally unstable, fashioning the perfect cocktail of disorders and chaos for this series to exist, a narrative unfolds where Sangwoo kidnaps Bum and horrifically tortures him in the same fashion his father tormented his mother because being the narcissistic serial killer he is, who kidnaps, abuses, molests, and kills women, believing that they're like his mother, where in Bum's case, Sangwoo believes he's his mother and not for who he really is. What do I mean by this? Sangwoo is a sadist who enjoys abusing, torturing, raping, and killing people for his own satisfaction. Despite that fact, he's manipulating and grooming Bum while attempting to cope with what happened between him and his mother. His main objective is to take Bum, who he believes is the personification of his mother like Norman Bates, and turn him/her into his slave, killing anyone who gets in between that relationship while maintaining his high on life, making other lives miserable. To summarize again, using different verbiage, Killing Stalking is a book about a symbiotic relationship gone horribly wrong, with Bum feeding off his theorized love he has for Sangwoo, which he confuses with obsession, and Sangwoo feeding off the power he has over Bum, which leads to the reader assuming these two need each other to survive, and or they need each other more than the other one does, without acknowledging the fact that resembles reality, where Sangwoo spares Bum's life but murders others, treats his wounds, kisses him, allowing bang bang time without a candy wrapper too, and Bum pining for Sangwoo's affection, trying to please him, because again, he confuses love with obsession, which is sadly a double-edged sword, where the characters need someone so bad it's physically painful for them when someone leaves, with them either apologizing repeatedly or physically violent for every mistake because you don't want to give them a reason to leave you, even if you're inducing insane amount of fear and or docile as a sheep and believe in a grand delusion like Bum. He truly believes of the billions of people in the world, Sangwoo loves him, despite everything he's done to him throughout this series, the torture, the rape, yada yada yada. He believes Sangwoo loves him because of the perfect storm of abuse and mental illnesses occurring in both of these characters. Phrasing that in a more entertaining way would be me saying, these two characters had a somewhat same mental illnesses and decided to become friends while in the mental asylum because sharing a mental defect is cool. And what could be cooler than mental liabilities? Being mentally unstable for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On top of that, because none of these characters can't get enough psychosis Kool-Aid without going to a doctor, let it be Sangwoo imagining or hearing his dead mother, or whatever insanity Bum sees on a daily basis, which has him questioning if up is down and black is white. This leads to the conclusion that Bum is a troubled man who can't effectively communicate his emotions and has an impossibly difficult grasp on his distinction of reality, let alone what reality really is, where he identifies pain with affection and love with obsession. Sangwoo is a serial killer with psychosis and mommy and daddy issues, meaning he's a sadistic fuck, much like Jeffrey Dahmer and Hannibal Lecter, with his main goal being to amuse himself. None of these characters love one another. Whatever emotions they display besides Bum is a ploy of manipulation or a power play. Only because this book has a boys love tag doesn't mean it's a romance. It's a psychological thriller horror series with a down-to-earth ending, but you have to remember the entire events of the story happened because of the perfect storm of mental illnesses that came together. So remember, if you're feeling mentally
Stop it. Get some help.